Hi, this is Erin from BlossyB. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is to use some of the items purchased in a recent TEMU order, including an extra large oval trinket tray, super cute sheep mould, a mandala coaster, insect charm mould, and much more. If you haven't as yet checked out my previous video, I'd strongly recommend you watch that one first. Everything will make a little bit more sense. So let's get crafting. I was really excited when I unpacked a set of 3 oval trinket trays in the order. Now, I've got lots of the oval trinket tray moulds, as I'm sure most of you do who work with resin regularly, but this one was sort of an extra large one, and it really meant that I could use my imagination and come up with something that would be really pretty. So the first thing I've done is I've used my beautiful resin, which is the River Art resin. It's a 2-to-1 ratio epoxy resin, and the one I've chosen to use today is the Deep Cure, and it comes up crystal clear and very few bubbles. So I've just ran a little bit of that around the edge of the trinket tray and a little bit in each of the bottom of these super cute sheep moulds. Now, to decorate the edge of my beautiful trinket tray, I'm using German glitter glass in this gorgeous dusky rose pink. So all I've done is I've taken a little bit out of the packet, popped it into a small little paper cup, and I'm just trying to be super careful and get it down into the sides. Now, the reason I added that tiny little layer of resin first was in the hope that the resin would give a really smooth surface on the top, and any of those shards of glass would not come through. After I had a nice little layer of the glitter glass all around the edge, I did end up putting another little bead of clear resin around. Yes, this is my confession time. I cannot find the footage of this. I'll explain what I've done. That little tray there is the mandala tray, and I've just filled that with clear resin along with some pixie dust. The little turtles, I've done the same. Now, the sheep, I found some white sparkly glitter, 2 different sorts that were quite chunky, and I thought it could look like wool, so I poured that in. Now, I've also made up a batch of purple resin and filled these little insect bug moulds, and they have come out super pretty. Then I've had a little bit left over, so I've filled in in the axolotl mould, and I've also taken one of my pussycat magnet moulds, and I've just used up the leftover resin to make these up, and they look really sweet. So hopefully we're up to date now on what I've been up to. Now, the little axolotl mould has a lot of little detail in it, and so I'm just using a chrome resin pen or marker now to go over each of the highlighted areas, and I've just put the mould next to me there so I can sort of check out what I'm looking for and make sure I get all of the details coloured in. And yeah, he looks super cute. Be perfect for a keychain. Yeah. So that's my little axolotl. Okay, so now in the TEMU order, there was a little heart, like a little photo frame with a stand, and I do want to use it to put a photo or a memorial picture or something in there. But for some reason this day I decided to use water slide decals. Now, if you've watched my videos, you'll know I love using water slide decals with resin. I get these from TEMU. They come in quite large packs. They're not very expensive. And all you need to do is to trim up the sheets, remove the protective layer of plastic, pop them in water, and then after a minute or so, the pieces will just float off and you can then pick them up and pop them onto your surface. So that's what I did there, and then of course I let them dry. Now I'm going to be using the Just Resin Carbon Black, and I'm going to do quite a opaque coating on the back of these little sheep. So remember, I've got clear at the front, then I've got this sort of nice chunky, almost fluffy looking white sparkly glitter to look like wool, and then I'm going to add a solid colour backing. Whilst I was making these, I had in my head, I think I was going to make fridge magnets out of them. I didn't realise how cute they were going to look on their own. Now, this is a gorgeous sort of glitter dust called Snow White, again from Just Resin, and it adds such a pretty touch to this, and I thought it would also work well with that white glitter. So I'm just going to go through and fill up the back of each of these. Now, this mould is more likely to be like an ice cube tray or a fondant mould. It certainly wouldn't be designed for resin, and as such it's not sort of even at the bottom, so I did sort of wedge a little bit up there just with a paddle pop stick. So now I'm just popping a little backing into these super cute little turtle moulds, and they literally only take just a couple of drops of resin each, and so these should come out super sparkly. And then I'm next going to mix up a this gorgeous sort of pinky plum colour, and this one is the raspberry colour from Just Resin. This is a pigment paste, the same as the Carbon Black, and you always need to give these a really good stir if they've been sitting for a while. And you can also pop them in the microwave for a few seconds if you need to sort of loosen the mixture up a little bit. So I'm going to mix that into some resin, and this is going to give me a really intense sort of deep raspberry plum colour. Now, I was actually hoping for a lighter colour than this. So what I've done is I've decanted it into a fresh container so that any of that remaining pigment that could be around the edges is left behind. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another one of the luster pigment pastes, and this one is pearl white, and I'm hoping to just lighten this mixture up just by a couple of shades and add a little bit of a shimmer to it. And look, you'll see in a few minutes the problem with this. I think that the colour looks beautiful, but you really do need to mix pigment pastes in very well. And I think I probably should have decanted this one into another container as well in hindsight. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, as they say, and I didn't. But I am loving the look of the colour I'm getting there, which is really nice. Popping in just a little bit more because I really do want to just bring that up a couple of colours. The only other pink I've really got in the Just Resin range is a sort of a matte finish luster paste, and I think it's called sour grapes or something like that. It's a really pretty colour, but it's very matte, and I really wanted this to be very deluxe looking, you know, very luxurious and glossy, and yeah, very pretty. So just to add that extra little bit of oomph, I'm going to pop in a little bit of the Pixie Magic. This is a highly reflective glitter dust, also by Just Resin, and you don't need a lot of this to get a really good result. So I'm just going to mix that in there, and then what I'm going to do, I've allowed my trinket tray the edge to cure completely, so I know that that's not going to budge. Those beautiful shards of the glitter glass are going to stay exactly where I put them. And now I'm going to pour the rest of the tray. It really looks gorgeous at this stage. It looks so pretty, and I can't help myself. I do a few squiggles while I'm pouring, but then I get a paddle pop stick and I spend way too long moving this around because it's just so satisfying. I could do this for hours probably, but of course there's very little point doing too much to resin along these lines, because resin will shrink and contract and move all on its own, and regardless of what patterns you put in, it will do its own thing. So, but it was fun. Anyway, now I'm going to just use some more of the black with a little bit of extra sparkle in it, and this is going into the Mandala coaster. So remember, we've got that highly reflective silver glitter already laid down, and this going over the top of it. And then I'm using a little bit of the leftover sort of pinky purple, and I did add a little bit more pigment to this one as well. Now, in hindsight, I really wish I hadn't made it this dark, but it was the first time using the mould, and do you know, sometimes you've just got to make an item up before you really know how the mould will work. It's just one of those things. It's sort of hard to tell. So these have now sat for a day and cured, and I'm going to demould the tray first. You'll just see down below, don't want to distract you, but I did have a little bit of extra left over, so I made some earrings. Now, this is where things didn't look as pretty as I had hoped. So this is the cream pigment that showed through. So I did have to actually go through and use some isopropyl alcohol and wipe them and get that out. Look how cute these little turtles are. And also we've got now a little black and silver axolotl. So they were super cute too. Now, check these out. They look so sweet. The next time you see these, they are going to have black paint on them. Now, I videoed this section so carefully, but over the end of year period, I was cleaning up everything on my phone, and I think I got a bit vigorous with my cleaning, because all of the footage of me colouring in their little curls on their coat disappeared. But I just used an acrylic paint from Kaisercraft and then wiped it off. I did exactly the same, you'll see in a moment, with that mandala tray, just with the black too. So you'll get an idea of what I did. This is the heart mould, and you can see the little waterside decals just pretty much disappeared with that colour, which was a shame, but I may switch it up one day and put something on the top. So because of that issue with that pigment paste, I really did have to put down another layer of resin to cover the little pock marks left by the areas where there was just pigment paste and no resin. So I'm just mixing up this beautiful pink colour. Look, this I bought from someone ages ago. I've never known what the pigment powder's called, I'm sorry. It's just pretty unidentified. So I've gone quite bright this time, and just popping a fairly thin layer in on the top there just to cover up those marks. Okay, so this is our beautiful little mandala coaster, and it is so detailed, and it would be just such a shame to not bring out all of those beautiful details. So I just splodge on a bit of paint, technical term there for you, and then I'm just dabbing at it and making sure it goes into as many of the little nooks and crannies as I can. And full disclaimer, I did do this process twice, and I did let it dry in between time just so I could get a really good idea of what it looked like. The paint doesn't take long to dry at all, but sometimes I find in the buffing off process you might remove a little bit too much. And look what a grot I am, honestly. I had paint everywhere. Luckily it's a washable paint, but yeah, I think I'm just making things worse there. So I normally like to work very tidily, but it just wasn't happening this day at all. And so I've found the best thing for me is to blot off the excess paint, and so I just actually push down evenly across the surface, and then any really liquidy paint will get soaked up there, and then I just buff off the rest, and I think it looks super pretty. Very happy with how that came up. And then it was time to check the trinket tray, which had a cured new top layer there. So I'm using these decals, which are on a PET type of a backing, and they are transparent cut-out shapes and in this beautiful cherry blossom. And I just peel them off and just sort of randomly place them. I was really wanting to pick up those gorgeous colours in that beautiful glitter glass around the edge. And these are pretty good. You can't see the little clear plastic around the edge too much, but a little bit. And I do go ahead and give it a top coat of resin in a moment, and I do add some sparkle in there, which is the best way of disguising those clear edges around any decals or stickers that you use, but I use too much. So I really think I was a bit heavy-handed here with this Snow White glitter dust. Look, I love the tray. It's really pretty, but just note to self, if you're like me, whilst you're crafting, you're constantly either taking notes or double checking things and thinking, look, next time I'll change this or do this a different way, or I'll never do that again. So I definitely think that I need to be a lot less liberal in my glitter, because I do want to give it a protective top coat, and I do want to add some glitter in there because I know that detracts from the shiny edges. Yep, just should have done a bit less. So here we go. Look how pretty this is. I think this would look so beautiful on a dressing table or a vanity. You could have a little makeup pot on there, or anything like that. So thank you so much for watching. It is always a pleasure to share my crafting with you. And I'll show you now some photographs of what I was working on, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.